the U-513 was a long-range weapon. Her skipper was veteran commander Friedrich Guggenberger, a legendary U-boat ace respected and admired on both sides.
Guggenberger was an excellent commanding officer and leader of men.
He was in the finest tradition of the German submarine commanders.
But the tide turned, and German U-boats known as the Grey Wolves were ruthlessly hunted down.
The greatest terror for any U-boat commander in 1943 is to be caught on the surface by an aircraft. An aircraft is an almost guaranteed U-boat killer, and certainly what submarines don't have is a chance of fighting out.
The Mariner dropped depth charges around the U-513. A killer blow exploded just below the boat. Among the survivors, the captain and legendary U-boat ace, Friedrich Guggenberger. Even though his U-boat was at the bottom of the South Atlantic, Captain Guggenberger continued the fight in captivity.
With officers like Guggenberger, trying to keep them in was often difficult. And of course, Guggenberger's involved in one of the great escapes on the American side.
Even as a prisoner in the United States, he escapes from captivity twice, the first time heading for Mexico.
He and 24 others staged their own great escape, tunneling out in 1944. They were recaptured within weeks. The survivors of the U-513 were released in 1946. As for Friedrich Guggenberger, his exploits and adventures continued long after the war ended.
The thing with most of the U-boat aces is they had a tendency to live fast and die young. Guggenberger survives the war, and his career continues. When Germany gets a navy back in the 1950s, he re-enlists. He becomes a senior admiral with a senior position in NATO, and retires, you know, with the plaudits and honours of not just his nation but his former enemies. And then he dies this bizarre, mysterious death at home as an elderly man, goes for a walk in the forest, never comes back, and his body's found 2 years later in the woods.